To the nominee, there has been talk about breaking Kenya Power's monopoly. I want to hear your view. This is a conversation that Kenyans have had for a very long time. Shouldn't Kenya have a choice, depending on your, the costs, the operational efficiency, and all that, whether people should be able to have a choice? The second question is that the Auditor General revealed issues related to meters, specifically the absence of check meters, malfunctioning check meters, and inconsistencies between check meters and the main meters. And that is why people get a different bill. It doesn't match. And so I wanted to ask, these are the cartels we have discussed for the last 2 days, people who don't want this country to move forward, and how do you intend to deal with these electricity cartels and address this irregularity in the metering?
Yes, Nelson, we'll take a bundle before you unbundle.
Honorable Wandayi, you are heavily opposed to the G2G deal. Now, if this House approves you, you are literally going to oversight the same G2G arrangement because it's still on progress. Has your position shifted, or will your position shift if this committee approves you?
Posing, take the third one as well.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Honorable Wandayi, it's a big problem in the entire Western Kenya in terms of clean power, blackouts. The entire northern Kenya, Western Kenya, that is from Nyanza, South Rift and North Rift. Should you get the favor of the House, how will you tackle that very fundamental issue that is almost historic? Number two, Honorable Wandayi, where is tallow oil in Turkana? Go and find out where that animal is. Should have actually produced oil in Kenya. Should be oil producing country. But disappeared. There's a lot of money that has been sunk and nothing is going on. Where is tallow oil? Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, let me endeavor to answer these three.
Very short, we can take the next Kikaria.
Wow, a mouthful.
Those are 4, and they're all very short. You should answer them with brevity the same way they are asked.
Thank you, Speaker. Just want to follow up on what Naisula was talking about metering. This is just maybe having been in the energy sector for a while, maybe you need to consider REREC going to the point of even metering a customer, because what happens is that REREC is given the option to take that drop of a wire to a customer, but now they leave the metering to KKPLC, who never take it, and we have over like 3 years. You take 3 years before you're metered. I think it is important for you to look at the metering being done by REREC, and then REREC can be able to inform KPLC for purposes of them now starting to do the charging. But there is this question of customers make applications. Then it takes too long to a point that we encourage illegal contractors to come and put lines and transmission. And then when KPLC realizes there is that, the first thing they do is to go and bring down all the poles. Yet, and my committee then had to go to Navaholo, where they were to be paid 3.5, and they took too long only for somebody else to come in to do that. I think it is important for you to address the issues ailing KPLC, so that we don't. And KPLC is a good. By the way, in the Energy Act 2019. The Kenya KPLC is not a monopoly. By the way, anybody can apply and get a license for them to be able to do distribution of power in the country. And that is in the Act. Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, thank you. Let me start with the Honorable Naisula. And I agree with the Honorable Gikaria. The 2019 Energy Act has actually laid the basis or foundation for other players to come in the energy distribution space. But even as this happens, because it will only happen again once we have put in place the requisite regulations, the subsidiary legislation. But even as this happens, Honorable Speaker, we still need a robust KPLC. And I'll say why. KPLC, because of the legacy, of course, issues, has got an elaborate infrastructure layout across the country. The competencies, the personnel, and so on and so forth, the technical capacity to do what it is supposed to do. In any event, KPLC actually is the revenue collector, okay? Revenue that goes all the way up the upstream, the transmitters, the generators, and so on and so forth. So we still need to ensure that a KPLC is run optimally, is efficient, is effective, even as we open that space of distribution to other players, as envisaged under the Energy Act 2019. What I foresee as doing going forward, and I will have discussions with my team if I'm approved, is that we may want to create zones, okay, for purposes of optimal utilization of these resources, so that we avoid conflicts if and when this process begins. And therefore, in short, the monopoly by KPLC is no longer entrenched in law. It is essentially a matter of practice, and we shall deal with it in the fullness of time. Two is the question of faulty meters. This I will have to inquire more about, because what I have been briefed is that we have had problems in procurement of both meters, actually of all, really, of all items. Yes, but meters more so, and transformers. What has happened is that these cartels that Honorable Chunga talked about, and Honorable Koech, I think, these cartels have become so pervasive, Honorable Speaker, that they can't allow a tendering process to proceed to conclusion and awards to be made without creating roadblocks. We all know for sure that KPLC, being a publicly listed company with majority shareholding being government, is governed by the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015, which act, as we all know, Honorable Speaker and members, gives room for tenderers, yes, for bidders, to lodge complaints at every other stage. But that is being abused, Honorable Speaker, by entrenched cartels. And we shall have to work closely with my colleagues in the ministry to deal with this menace, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Koech, on the matter of G2G deal, the G2G deal, it's indeed true, Honorable Speaker, that I, alongside my other colleagues who are vehemently opposed to this scheme. But let me tell you, Honorable Speaker, that was then. And I was doing it as my duty to put government to check.
I think you already answered that question when you are responding to the Deputy Speaker.
But this is specific. So on this G2G, Honorable Speaker,
Yes, okay.
I am aware that it is running up to end of 2025. That gives me ample time to go and study its impact, its workings, and understand it, and for me to be able to offer appropriate guidance, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable was saying, my chair, my good chair, the matter of power outages or inefficiencies in the Western Kenya belt. Well, but it is more pervasive in the Western Kenya. But I'll explain why.
Sometimes you can have a blackout for 12 hours.
I have already engaged officers, of course informally, in the ministry. And if I am approved, if I'm eventually appointed as CS Energy, I am going to fast track the development of transmission lines, okay, with the requisite capacity to evacuate power and take to the consumers, not only in Western Kenya, but across the country. And in Western Kenya specifically, I'm going to ensure that the Tarkwel or Tum Kitale line is completed and commissioned in the shortest time possible. That will deal with power issues in Pokot, in Kitale, in all that area. I will also ensure similarly that the Kibos or Kisumu, Kakamega, Musaga line is also completed. Similarly, the Narok-Bomet line has to be completed within the shortest time possible for the entire southern Nyanza region, including Kisii and Nyamira counties. And Bomet, of course, southern Nyanza includes Migori, Homa Bay, and yes, and the islands, yes, in Lake Victoria. So this is something I will actually give utmost priority, Honorable Speaker. Northern Kenya is, of course, at the heart of this strategy. As we speak, there is a line from Loyangalani to Masabit that has to be completed similarly in record time, and the line from Masabit to Isiolo, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the second limb of this question by Honorable Kosing is on the matter of tallow oil. Honorable Speaker, this project is not dead. It could have taken a break, but I've taken it upon myself, if I'm appointed, to ensure that it is revived. Because tallow oil is on the ground. What it lacks is the requisite financial capacity to be able to commercially develop the oil reserves in the lower Lokichar, in the South Lokichar basin, Honorable Speaker. We are going to work closely with tallow oil, with the guidance of the Attorney General, to source for a strategic partner who can bring in some financial capital to be able to have this project completed. But again, time is of essence, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know that Kenya is a signatory to the Paris Agreement on carbon emissions. Kenya is a signatory to the Paris Agreement on carbon emissions. And if you recall, the outcome of the conference, the UN conference on climate change, COP27, in Egypt in 2022, if we don't move with speed and extract this oil in Turkana, we may be time-barred because we'll face serious restrictions, including even restrictions from potential financiers, because the world is moving steadily from fossil fuels to clean energy, Honorable Speaker. And Kenya is not an island. And therefore, I'm going to treat this matter of tallow oil and the oil in South Lokichar Basin with the utmost urgency. Honorable Gikaria, my good friend, member for Nakuru East, I agree with him totally. Nothing stops CLEREC from putting in place meters. They can actually do the last mile up to the point of metering. Okay? And then a framework is established for handover to KPLC for purposes of billing, Honorable Speaker. This will create synergy and enhance efficiency and contribute to customer satisfaction, Honorable Speaker. Again, the matter of applications taking too long, I have discussed and have been made aware of the bottlenecks that the utility companies have been facing. This again we shall work on. The question of illegal connections is not necessarily a matter of delayed in processing applications. The matter of illegal connections will still be there even if the applications are processed on time. And we have to deal with it separately or differently. And my proposal, and
it's a crime, you know that.
It's a crime, of course.
Yes.
It is a crime, but we must also live with the reality that some of these areas where this practice is rampant are not easy to access even by the officers of Kenya Power and Lighting.
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to work on a proposal, of course, together with Parliament and the Attorney General, to pursue an option of bulk metering. Okay? In those kind of situations, the Kenya Power and Lighting can be empowered to identify one entity or one person who will then be billed, and then he distributes the power to the rest of the
law already
consumers.
allows them to do that. Why don't they?
Yes, that's why I said from the outset, Honorable Speaker, that
anyway, you are not the minister, so
I will need to
address it when you
fast track the issue of the regulations. Yeah.